Good morning to you. The Lord, I felt, gave me a word this morning, but just before I give that particular word, I thought of something else, and that is that God is a God of extremes. It's either good or it's bad. It's either right or it's wrong. And that's illustrated so much in the Psalms. And this morning I just want to share a psalm with you and a verse from the book of Luke, and just bring forth something that is part of the nature of God. It's Psalm 92. It is a good thing to give thanks unto the Lord, and to sing praises unto thy name, O Most High, to show forth thy loving kindness in the morning, and thy faithfulness every night, upon an instrument of 10 strings, and upon the psaltery, upon the harp with a solemn sound. For thou, Lord, hast made me glad through thy work. I will triumph in the works of thy hands. O Lord, how great are thy works, and thy thoughts are very deep. A brutish man knoweth not, neither doth a fool understand this. When the wicked spring as the grass, and when all the workers of iniquity do flourish, it is that they shall be destroyed forever. But thou, Lord, art most high forevermore. For lo, thine enemies, O Lord, for lo, thine enemies shall perish. All the workers of iniquity shall be scattered. But my horn shalt thou exalt, like the horn of a unicorn. I shall be anointed with fresh oil. Mine eye also shall see my desire on mine enemies, and mine ears shall hear my desire of the wicked that rise up against me. The righteous shall flourish like the palm tree. He shall grow like a cedar in Lebanon. Those that be planted in the house of the Lord shall flourish in the courts of our God. They shall still bring forth fruit in old age. They shall be fat and flourishing, to show that the Lord is upright. He is my rock, and there is no unrighteousness in him. That line there is no unrighteousness in God. It's either his works are great, or his works are considered foolish. And that is the way that man thinks. Man thinks in his extreme. God thinks in his extreme. And that's illustrated in Luke 16. I think it's verse 26. I'm taking that from memory, so I hope I'm going to find it. Yeah, Luke 16:26. This is the rich man that's taken to Hades, and Lazarus who's taken to the bosom of Abraham. And the word that struck me this morning is in verse 26. And it says, and besides all this is when the rich man is wanting the Lord to speak to his family and warn them about what suffering he's undergoing, that they shouldn't undergo it. And he says, and besides all this, Jesus says, between us and you, there is a great gulf or a great chasm fixed, so that they which would pass from hence to you cannot, neither can they pass to us that would come from thence. There's no way that God will reach in to Hades to pull people out of Hades. Once you've made your decision as to how you're going to live your life, you've fixed that chasm between you and God. You've fixed a gulf between you and him. And as the Psalms so often say, it's blessed is the man who trusteth in the Lord, as opposed to the foolish man who turns his back on the Lord. There's no in-between. There's no grey area. And I thought about that in terms of sin. I thought that every time we sin, willfully sometimes, we create that chasm between us and God. Remember that when the curtain was torn in the Holy of Holies, the barrier between him and us was torn away. so that we could stand before him. No hindrances, no more gulfs between us. And he's given us the power to walk in him, the power to guard our minds, guard our hearts. There need not be a chasm. But once we make a decision about something, the decision is ours. How we choose to live. The rich man chose to have all his riches on earth, thinking nothing of the poor. And then he paid an eternal price for that. An eternal gap between him and God. It's quite pertinent, isn't it, when we go on the London Underground, we hear the words, mind the gap. And of course we know that we have to step over that gap when we get out of the train. There's no stepping over God's gap. Once it's set, it's set. And that's happening, isn't it, all over the world now. People are being set in their ways by their own choice. They create the gap between them and God because they want it. That's their desire. They believe through deception that they're on the right side of life. But the fact is that isn't the truth. They're on the wrong side. And it's incumbent on us, isn't it, to show them the way while we still can, while their hearts are still beating. All of us sometimes have that gap, that temporary gap, when we do something or we say something we shouldn't. And it's important, isn't it, that we run back to the Lord, run back as fast as we can, flee from sin, flee from sexual immorality, flee from the things that destroy us and recreate, if you like, that barrier between us and God. But we know it's been broken down, and we can walk in the Spirit. That is our choice. So let's leave you with that little thought this morning, and let's always pray that we can stay close to Jesus. Stay close, closer than ever. As we're going to get rattled, we're going to get shaken. We're going to be tossed to and fro. The tempests are rising. But at the same time, the Spirit of God has risen in our hearts, and he's brought to us a new dawn. Help us, Lord, to walk in that, to walk in your Spirit. I would say to those who perhaps stumble across this video this morning, that if there is a gap between you and God, or perhaps you've fallen back and the gap has widened, come back to him. Repent of your sin. Turn back. It's never too late. Remember, he said he is faithful and just to forgive you of your sin and to cleanse you from all unrighteousness. Have a blessed day. And I just may add that if you do like the videos, please subscribe, because it does help the algorithm and it helps the message to go out. Have a blessed day.